Yeah, just found this little hoot owl thingy. So pretty. I don't know, that shouldn't matter, but they're just beautiful little birds. I don't know, I guess when the cats got it, I don't know. I don't know how they would get one of these. Really pretty birds though. And they're so interesting. I got these interesting, even their feet are interesting. The hunter got hunted or something. Anyway, guess I'll just throw this on the end of a video. Just an interesting little animal and such.
If you don't have any traditional reason to run to religion, and there's absolutely not one single shred of any scientific evidence indicating the existence of a God, then there would be absolutely no reason to put yourself in this agnostic category. Just as I don't have to be agnostic on whether Bugs Bunny farted the universe. I have no obligation to be agnostic on that theory because all the evidence points to the fact that it's just a pile of shit that I made up. Because the bad luck went somewhere else. So then you're back to the simple argument of, again, would I, to relive, the best of my life, would I impose cancer on a 6-year-old for 3 years of cancer treatment, let's say. So to have, let's say 20 years of the best of my life, take out all the nasty bits and just give me the best in 20 years of it, would I do that? Would I force a kid to have nasty, unfortunate, unpleasant 3-year horror? And my simple answer is, of course not. I mean, the theory of round Earth probably exists, and in no place in my brain does the theory of poofy dancing tra-la-la God exist. And it's just the truth, and how can be defined and described as a brain that models the universe without putting fantasy invisible superpower creatures in it, and and models based on, and it makes every effort, makes an effort, my brain actually makes an effort to make sure there isn't preposterous nonsense in it. They both have impacts, and they both have no undo button. So once you commit to something, you can't undo it. Okay, once you do it, you can't undo it. So the idea is to do it right the first and only time you're going to have a chance to do it, because there is no undo button. And if you're just going to add a bunch more expense, then, to learn, if your education to become a better man requires some kind of trial by fire, well, you have to prove that being a better man is worth it, because the trial by fire is a fact. It happened. You can't undo it. But that would be the way to go, I guess. And then to try to get people to take any one of those theories and knock it down, assail it, try to forge it with something like a logical argument rather than a, no, you can't play chess here. I just pissed on the board and rubbed all the squares off. So fuck you. Instead of doing that, deal with it as a truth, as a statement of truth, and explain how there's good reason to doubt the credibility of it as a truth. Nope, not there, not there, not there, not there. It's not there. There's no indication of it existing. There's no indication that it is created as a function of matter in the universe. That replicating is something it does routinely. It's highly complex chemistry, and highly complex chemistry can only take place in very small sections of the universe that are tolerable, that provide conditions that make that even possible. So anyway, I don't see any real use to this. This is theoretical, let's understand the mechanics of the universe conversation, not conversation really relevant to the human condition or the biological condition on Earth. if I described to you the behavior of a cuckoo bird and said, well, yeah, it just basically finds some other bird's nest that they worked hard to build, knocks the eggs out, and lays its own egg in there instead, and fools the not too bright little birds into basically raising its fucking monster. Now you say, gee, that sucks. But isn't that what everybody on welfare is doing, or anybody who really doesn't financing their own reproduction doing? They're basically telling other people, go to work to subsidize my reproduction. Slave and toil, pay your property taxes, which are 80% subsidized for child bearers. So I, can lay eggs basically on your head. I don't think it's a direct democracy that decides that. It's essentially, there is a force in here of a constituent foundational function that does do this thing called logic. And I think it's learned. It's another program, and you learn the habit of it, the tradition of it, the theme of it through life by these validations of reasonable thinking and unreasonable through your maturation and whatnot. You find out that there's certain kinds of thinking that's silly and kinds of thinking that's not silly.
We know what the consequence is, and we are perfectly capable of separating sex from procreation, you fucking retard. Alright, it's a proven fact, shit for brains. Most people are procreating at a level insufficient to maintain human existence. May I say that again to you? Most people are procreating at a level insufficient to maintain human existence. That's a fact. Retard. So this nonsensical bullshit doesn't mean a damn thing. It's totally irrelevant, totally obnoxious, totally stupid, totally ignorant. What are you doing stupid shit like this for? What is the point of posting a comment this fucking stupid and off the fucking subject? So again, I'm not going back to somebody making the decision. The boxers are in your subconscious, okay? They don't actually show up in your consciousness and make a decision, and you're in the middle. The point I'm making is that the argument between these Mr. Spock and Captain Kirk is leaking into our consciousness. We hear them fighting, but the actual fist fight we don't see. The actual declaring of the winner is not what we see. We only see the winner arise. We see ourselves procrastinate, and then we logically say, you're procrastinating, you really should get that done. And then we see ourselves say, I'll procrastinate another day. And we say, how the hell did that happen? How did the decision get made? Yeah, well, obviously the two had a fight, and in this case, whatever, Mr. Spock lost.
Their legitimacy is there. It's real. The relationships are real. They're not fake. They're not fraudulent. Our brain doesn't make it up. Okay, the brown things are the brown things. The green things are the green things. These categories exist. These properties exist. These exclusions exist. You either are a rapist or you're not a rapist. You're either 6 feet tall or you're not 6 feet tall. These are categories. They're truths. And through a mechanism like that, there would be an engineered solution that would be my optimum performance. My optimum amount of good I could get out of my life. If you could play it all the way out to the end of human history and all this kind of stuff. And you'd find out exactly, this is the scenario that would have made me Uberman. I would have been my maximum peak performance. I would have done the most good in the world. And let's say I would have, I guess it would be incidental whether I profited personally.
What annoys me about it is that I can't impose guilt on you. You have to do it to yourself. It's a self-generated mechanism. Guilt only works if there's some chance that it's actually right. You can't make me, you could blame me for the Korean War. I could just say, fuck you. Yeah, I didn't have anything to do with it. There's no evidence, there's no anything. I have no reason to feel guilty because of the Korean War. So it's not going to work. You're only going to make me feel guilty when you're attacking something that's real. When you're pointing out something that's real. And you're just basically saying, I can only take this much reality. Well, if you can only take this much reality, then you're just really not entitled to be sitting at the reality table.
Prepared to defend your beliefs. And now you're just resorting to desperation. I mean, come on, you can't, like I said, you can't argue a minute ago one thing, and now argue something else. Just demonstrates your insincerity, if anything. Okay, so you're just playing devil's advocate, or whatever, God's advocate. I don't know what kind of advocate it is, but you're just being a lying lawyer in this philosophical conversation, and then you'll judge me and say I'm too rude or I'm too harsh. At least I'm fucking honest, you assholes.
And usually we'll get what we need. And so why is this, you're going to give me that because there's a neurotic human being on Earth, all of a sudden we can't do what's usual? No, I'm just, what do you want me to do? You want me to send the poor neurotic a postcard saying, get over yourself, get over your guilt? I mean, I only said it in 3 videos now. I have no interest in anybody wasting their time having emotions over this shit. Alright, don't waste your time feeling guilty. Waste your time thinking, how do I do better? Period. Alright, can I say it any more explicitly? I think guilt is stupid. Okay, I wouldn't waste any time on it. If you have any kind of goddamn brain at all, there's absolutely no point in having some stupid emotion.
Little funny people aren't that funny because they spend a welfare check on lottery tickets. And then their kids turn into little fucking monsters that will hit you with a brick and steal your $5. This is the reality we live in. It's not a sitcom. And people have to take some responsibility for this. And you just say, oh, you're running. You're just running from it. You're running from your responsibility to take responsibility for being a human being, for being one of the members, the voting members of the human race. You have obligations here. You have responsibilities.
Hard. You can see its workings. You can see what keeps it standing. You can see what it feeds on. And what it feeds on is your desire. That's what people don't understand. It's feeding on your energy. The energy you put into it. The recklessness and the sloppiness you put into it. The monster isn't really the monster. The monster is inside of you. The monster is your ambition, your desire, your need to play a game from the beginning, to initiate the conflict. And that's in the very nature of life, because life has a bad origin. It's a replicating molecule. It's replication for the sake of replication. And the very thing that gives it integrity in terms of creating something nuanced and evolved is made out of the war, is made out of huge amounts of attrition, huge amounts of destruction. That's how it creates. It destroys 1,000,000 to create a 1. To make 1 improvement in the house, it burned down 1,000 houses. It created, like it was a laboratory that invented cures for disease. Well, for every cure it creates, it lets loose 1,000,000 viruses that do malicious damage.